Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. The recitation is Sri Rag Bhagat Kabir Jiyo Ka Acharaj ek Suno re Pandiya Ab kich kehn na jai Sur nar gan gandharv jini mohe Tribhuvan mekhali lai Raja Ram anhad kinguri bajai ਜਾਂ ਕੀ ਦਿਸ਼ਟ ਨਾਦ ਲਿਵ ਲਾਗੈ ਰਹਾਉ ਪਾਠੀ ਗਗਨ ਸਿੰਜੀਆਂ ਅਰ ਚੁੰਗੀਆਂ ਕਨਕ ਕਲਸ ਇਕ ਪਾਇਆ ਤਿਸ ਮਹਿ ਧਾਰ ਚੋਏ ਅਤ ਨਿਰਮਲ ਰਸ ਮੈਂ ਰਸਨ ਚੁਆਇਆ ਏਕ ਜੋ ਬਾਤ ਅਨੂਪ ਬਣੀ ਹੈ ਪਵਨ ਪਿਆਲਾ ਸਾਜਿਆ तीन भवन में एको जोगी कहो कवन है राजा ऐसे ज्ञान प्रगटया पर खोतम कहो कबीर रंग राता और दुनी सब भरम भुलानी मन राम रसायन माता. We'll take the shabad from the top. Acharaj ek sunor hai pandiya अब किच कहन न जाई सुर नर गुण गंधर्व जिन मोहे त्रिभुवन मेखली लाई. So Kabir ji here is invoking the Pandit. Listen, O Pandit, he says. Listen to this most wondrous of experiences that I've had. And now, after you hear this, no one can be misled. And here he's speaking of that one Maya that has deluded the gods, humans, deities, and heavenly minstrels, and wears the three planes of existence like a girdle, mekhali lai. So, O Pandit, says Kabir, this is a most singular and wondrous of experience that I've had. Ek suno acharaj. So this is essentially Kabir ji's personal testimony of receiving the wisdom of Shabad Guru. So what Kabir ji is saying to the Pandit is that he has found freedom from the delusion of Maya, which controls the three regions of existence, namely water, land, and space, Tribhuvan Mekhali Lai, and has deluded everyone, including the gods and deities, Surnar, Gan, Gandharv, Jin, Moy. So that's basically the essential state we are in. Then he goes on to say, in the Rahau verse, it becomes apparent that he's also addressing the practice of the Nath yogis, who played on a string instrument called the kinguri. Raja Ram anhad kinguri baje. The kinguri was used as a contrivance to induce deeper meditational states. But Kabir ji points out that the celestial music plays within without interruption. Raja Ram anahad kinguri baje. That is the unstruck melody of the all-pervading sovereign Ram that is playing endlessly without interruption. Now, this is a figure of speech to say that wisdom is innate to us. It's within us. And that is the wisdom that we have to learn to attune ourselves to. Jaka disht naad liv lagge. And then he moves on to the practice of the yogis of distilling liquor. They drank liquor to pretend as though they were in a state of spiritual ecstasy. And here, Kabir ji is really calling them out. And he says, Pathi gagan sinjiyan ar chungiyan kanak kalas ik paya tis meh tar chue at nirmal ras meh rasan chuaya. So the Nath yogis distilled their own liquor in a distillery that was called a pathi. And there were two tubes that were used, as they are for distillation purposes. The inlet for cooling, called sinjia, and the outlet to pour the distillate, the chungia. And the liquor then flowed into the receptacle called a kalash. And the yogis used this to make a show of some sort of intoxication. And Kabirji has used that analogy of liquor distillation. Remember, the distillation process is one of removing impurities, and the essence is then removed. So Kabirji is using the distillation process as an analogy to explain the alchemy of spiritual transformation that must happen within. True intoxication, Kabir is saying here, is the ecstasy that comes from inner experience. And so there is an inner distillery, and he calls it Gagan, the sky, which is really one of the elements, ether. This is where movement occurs and is a symbol for our inner organ, if you will, also called antahkaran. This collectively we call it the mind, but it consists of the mind, the intellect, memory, and so on. Chitta, buddh, man. These are all part of that inner instrument. It's collectively called Gagan. So that is the distillery in which we have to really distill or separate out the impurities. The intellect here is the fermenter. And the inlet is the cultivation of self-knowledge. And the outlet then is the spiritual gold of the heart. Patti gagan sinjiya chungiya kanak kalash ikapaya. And then during this process, something wonderful happens. Ek jo baat anup bani hai. And what is that? Pavan peyala sajya. What that means is that the breath indeed becomes the holder of that knowledge, wisdom. It's another way of saying that you then live it constantly. It is not the periodic intoxication that comes about by consuming liquor, but rather this is a state of intoxication that is forever. In other words, you're now being guided by wisdom. And that wisdom then reveals to you that teen pavan mein eko jogi kaho kavan hai raja, that in all of creation there is only one yogi. The symbolism here being union that holds all creation together. Teen pavan mein eko jogi. So there is a question being asked, kaho kavan hai raja? Is there an earthly king that can compare to this yogi? The reference being to that one almighty, all-pervading essence. And this is the kind of wisdom that then surfaces, that is revealed. And that is the way Kabirji is saying, Aise Gyan Pragtya Parkhottam. In such a way was the supreme wisdom revealed. Kaho Kabir Rang Rata. And to that wisdom I am attuned. And the mind then is intoxicated. Man Ram Rasayan Mata, with the elixir, Rasayan, of the all-pervading self, Ram. And everything else, the rest, meaning those who are using these external symbols, like playing of the kingari or distilling liquor, are misled and deluded. Aur duni sab param pulani man ram rasayana mata. So the only truth is the mind that is imbued and colored in the wisdom of the Shabad Guru. And so the insistence that we see here from Kabir, that inner experience is the only authentic knowledge. This is the hallmark of Gurmat. With that thought, until the next time, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.